Are you looking for simple and effective tools to support optimal health and well-being for yourself, your animals, and your spaces? Do you know there must be better ways to learn these tools without investing thousands of dollars and thousands of your hours? Are you open to understanding the underlying principles that can bring about deep transformational change? If so, then today's show is for you. Our guest will be sharing his journey in developing simple and highly effective energy techniques that support your health and well-being. He also will discuss how dowsing can help you tap into your intuition to take your next steps. And he'll be taking some questions from today's audience. So, as you know, as I like to say, get your pen and pad ready. You're going to take some notes with some questions for our guest, Raymond Grace. Buckle up. We're getting ready to take a ride in the quantum field and possibly way beyond. Buckle up. I wouldn't want you to go flying off to another dimension. Or just maybe, that's exactly what you need. Welcome to the People and Pets Show. Welcome to the People and Pets Show. I'm so honored and grateful to have today's invited guest, Raymond Grace. Raymond, how are you today?
Doing well, sir. Doing well. And I appreciate the invitation to speak to your audience out there.
Yeah, I'm delighted that you're here. I'm just going to admit a few people real quick. All right. I came across, Raymond Grace, as he'll tell his story, has been doing this type of work, dowsing and energy techniques and more since, I believe, the mid-'70s. I came across his work about 5 or 6 years ago. I was studying the body code, interested in spiritual medicine and the clearing of spaces. And so I came across his work because, I was learning things to clear spaces, but I also wanted things, as I call it, kind of like the automatic car wash, or obviously Raymond's done already the heavy lifting, but you can use these tools to clear spaces. And so I bought one of the DVDs that has that you can, auto clear spaces. Anyway, so I've been following his work. I love it because one thing I'm very committed to is giving people tools that they can use, simple and effective tools to help themselves. So I love his work, and it's one thing I have in my chest and recommend to people all the time. So, So again, and I'd like to thank everyone that's on the call today. There's so many things you could be doing with your time right now. And I'm so honored and grateful that you've chosen to spend some of it with us. We're doing today's call on live through Zoom so we can have a little bit more interaction between the audience and the guest. And so if you're seeing this on replay on the People and Pets Energetics Facebook page, make sure to give it a thumbs up, a like, a love, and subscribe to the People and Pets Facebook page. Or if you're seeing it on replay on YouTube on the People and Pets Energetics People and Pets Show channel, please give this episode a thumbs up and share out the episode. Again, later on in the show, there'll be an opportunity for the audience to ask Raymond some questions. They can be very specific and connected with maybe tools that you can use to help move you along with the situation. Or maybe over the years, you've taken some seminars or workshops with Raymond Grace or used his tools and like to share some of your experiences with these items. So, for those that are new to me, my name is Mark Hernandez. I'm the owner and founder of People and Pets Energetics. I'm a holistic practitioner that helps people, animals, and their spaces when they've hit the wall with health and well-being issues. I have intuitive gifts and extensive training to read the energy fields and then identify and release non-beneficial energies that are locking in place stuff. For people, what commonly gets them in the door? They're in some level of pain. It's disrupting the quality of their everyday life. It's something, quote unquote, physical. They've already gone to their medical doctors, gotten all their tests run. Maybe that helps some, but the solution has been incomplete. Maybe they've done some alternative stuff, chiro, acupuncture, Chinese medicine, whatever, Reiki, and that's helped more, but there's still a missing piece. That's frequently who comes and sees me. They've gone through 95% of the low-hanging fruit, and they're still in pain. For your pets, two main categories: changes in behavior. You know, I work a lot of dogs and cats. They're fine. One day they start peeing and pooing in the household. Work a lot with separation anxiety, excessive barking, things along those lines. The other category is people have taken their pet to the vet, and that's always your first stop. If you have any concerns about the health and well-being of your pet, vet checked it out. In this case, found something going on veterinarily. I can provide a layer of energetic support. The third area I work on are space clearings. You know, we've all been in those spaces where we walk in and go, I got to get out of here. We just know the energy's off. I can, again, clear those spaces often in fairly short order. So all my work is non-invasive, safe, gentle, and yields results. At times immediately, and in other instances over time. I do 95% of my consultations remotely by phone or video technology. So that's who I am and what I do in a nutshell. So with that, I would now like to formally introduce our guest, Raymond Grace. Raymond Grace is the founder and president of the Raymon Grace Foundation. He is a dowser, lecturer, and author of 3 books. The Future is Yours, Do Something About It, and the one that I have is Techniques That Work for Me, and Seasons of April. I guess that's 4. Okay. He has created over 50 DVDs sharing information learned over the past 45 years. His books have been printed in English, Italian, Chinese, and one in Spanish, Español. His work is being used in several countries for improving water and other areas of self-improvement. His videos have reached people in over 142 countries. I'd like to add, I was just tooling around his website last night, and now those DVDs now are available as digital downloads. So, and also I think the books are too. He has been a guest on numerous radio talk shows, including the well-known Coast to Coast AM radio show. He has been recognized by the Virginia Senate for his work. He is a down-to-earth, plain-spoken person who tells it as he sees it. His dress clothes are jeans and cowboy boots, and he doesn't own a suit and tie. He's real and the real deal. The topic of our conversation today is energy techniques that work for me. Raymond, again, welcome to the People and Pets Show.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So, again, I know many people may be familiar with your work. Some may be brand new. Can you give us a quick synopsis of your journey? I know you've been doing this work since the 70s, but kind of how you got doing dowsing, intuitive work, shamanism, all that.
Okay. I started out back in 1973 with a fellow named Jose Silva, who was the founder of Silva Mind Control.
Mm-hmm.
I became one of his lecturers for a few years, and I've always looked beyond what is taught in school, and what was taught in church, and what most people knew. I always knew there was something else. Yeah. And I spent most of my life looking for it. And I found a lot of it. I haven't found it all. Don't know if I ever will. But I got involved in anything I thought would help me to expand my mind. And then, let's see, after being in working with Jose Silva as a lecturer for a while, I got into dowsing. I'd heard of dowsing. People around here had used dowsing to find water for years, or did real well, but they didn't really call it dowsing. They called it water wishing, but it was the same thing. So I got acquainted with dowsing societies, and wasn't long before they were asking me to speak at their conferences and conventions. And I learned a lot from some of the older dowsers who already passed on now, mm-hmm. But no one had actually written a book, or to my knowledge, a very practical book on dowsing, and that's what that Techniques That Work for Me is for. Mm-hmm. It was like very simple, bare bones, no frills, do this, this, and this. And we've reached quite a ways around the world with that little book. But I've always wanted to do things to make the world better for mm-hmm. my family, my friends, and that's really what got me into all of this, is how can you do things that really makes a difference on this planet. That's a short version of how
Yeah.
I got here.
Right. Okay, cool. Great. Yeah. So, over the years you've been doing, what are the main reasons people like book a consultation? I know you work with a lot of people around the world, through phone or video. What are some of the main reasons people have sought your help over the years? And has it changed in like the last 3 years, or is it the same?
Well, it's pretty much been about the same. Most everybody has problems, no matter where they are in life. So it could be business problems, but probably more often it's family problems. People don't get along, or it's also illness. It's hard to say really which it's the most. It's a wide variety of various things. Maybe they're having trouble with work. Maybe their kids being bullied at school, or say any variety of health problems. Now, I don't claim to diagnose anybody for anything.
Yes.
I work strictly with energy. Frankly, I know very little about medical procedures,
Yeah.
practically nothing. I just want to make it clear. I work strictly with energy. So when people, I'm talking with them on the phone and they start giving me a lot of medical terms, I said, wait a minute, I don't need to know that. All I need to know is, where do you hurt? And I'll figure out the rest of it. Everything really is energy. Einstein said something like that. I think he said, everything is energy. That's all there is to it. Tesla said, if you want to understand the universe, think in terms of frequency and energy. So that's what I do to a degree, as best I can, because I have a way of measuring energy, and I really don't even want to try to explain it on the air.
Sure.
It's in my my dowsing DVD, but basically, your success with dowsing depends upon how you ask the questions. If you don't ask the right question, you can't get the right answer. So when I teach classes, that's what I really do. In addition to teaching folks how to dowse, teach them how to ask the right questions. What is it you really want to know? And always just get to the point as quick as possible. Find the problem and fix it. That's just kind of the way I work.
Yeah. So you said, which I love is, so people, come to you with a wide array of issues. And since you approach everything as energy, everything is energy, you can help them with all sorts of, things that they come with. So,
bottom line, Mark, is the intelligent human mind has the ability to direct energy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Which is what you do when you for spaces.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I know that when people book a consultation with you, you have a extensive checklist of 30 items. What are some of the most common things that everyone? I mean, I know you check, but like come up for everyone, like the top two, that people need corrections, energetic corrections.
Okay. Right now, there is something, and this is not any secret because you can actually get an app on your phone to measure it, and it's called the Schumann, Schumann, Schumann resonance, and it's a vibration of the earth. Now, as I understand this was what the Native American people call the heartbeat of the earth, which measured 7.83 hertz for as long as anybody knows.
Right.
And as near as I can tell, this started changing in the late 97. December 4th to be exact, if I'm right. Now, Please understand, I don't claim to be an authority on this, but I have been measuring this stuff for, since 97. How long has it been? 23 years.
Yeah.
And I saw this energy start to rise. And at the time, I didn't really understand it. I don't completely understand it now, but I started making talks at dowsing conferences, explaining this to people, what was happening. And the earth seems to be going through a major transformation. Now, I can't get real technical on this. I'm just saying what I have found.
Sure.
As long as I knew Jose Silva, or up until the time he passed on, he spoke of what he called the coming of the second phase of human evolution. The Edgar Cayce spoke of the coming of the Christ consciousness. Back in the 60s and the 70s, the hippies were saying about the age of Aquarius. I think they were all saying the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I just call it energy, the raising of the energy. The first thing I do on any request, no matter what it is. I check the energy of the person and the energy of their home.
Okay.
And many people live in literally an energetic black hole and don't know it.
Mm-hmm.
For example, if I'm going to clean up a kid's school, you check the energy in the school. So that's the number one thing I do, no matter what the case is. You check the energy of the person asking for help and their surroundings,
Mm-hmm.
because we are affected by the energy around us. And anyone that can think knows that.
Yeah.
There's places you go that you just feel good. And there's places you go, you can't wait to get away from it. Okay. The truth is, if you learn how to work with energy, you can correct those situations. This is how and you're probably doing the same thing. We clean up areas, we clean up schools. I do a lot of cleaning up schools for people with the kids having problems. Schools are normally a very low energy place. Colleges are especially a low energy place. This is
I taught it both. I attest to both of those. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. We do a lot of that kind of work, and it works.
Yeah.
That's why we keep doing it. So those are the first thing you want to check for. Now, what I said about human resonance, if my dowsing is correct, this is affecting the majority of the population most of the time.
Yeah.
And last week, I got some calls and emails from people, and I knew they were in trouble. I could just tell. Mm-hmm. And the human resonance had spiked. Now, someone sent me a chart on this.
Yeah.
I don't know what it had been before all the time, but as of September 20th, it had gone to 99. As of last Thursday morning, it was 170. That's a big jump.
Yeah.
And one person called me. She was just kind of going berserk. Mm-hmm. And I got her calmed down. And I said, this is what the problem is. Now, here's the good thing. Although I cannot or have not been able yet to stop this from happening or to make people immune to it in the future,
right.
What I have been able to do is to neutralize, that means take energy away from it, mm-hmm. In the present. Now, when I do this, in every case, I don't think there's ever been an exception. Whenever you neutralize the negative effect of the human resonance upon people, their energy will go up every time. So that is one of the major things that is affecting people. It affects the behavior, it affects their thoughts, it affects their feelings. Now, for you folks listening out there, you can Google human resonance, CHUMANN, resonance, and that site will tell you more than I can tell you now as to what you may see what's been happening to you. So just the human mind is far more powerful than most of you realize. Mm-hmm. And Mark, this is why that I can clean up energy, and so can you, on the other side of the world.
Yeah.
I have clients in Australia, Asia, and Europe and South America. I have clients everywhere except Antarctica. So these, we have the ability to literally change energy around this planet. And this boggles people's mind. They wonder, how do you do this? I can answer that question in one word: intent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if you ask me how I do this stuff, that's going to be the answer. There's no point in asking. I've already given you the answer. You do it with intent. But not everybody's intent is equal, and human beings are not equal. Mm-hmm. Some people can do all manner of things, and others can't. Like, I can't sing. I know two tunes. One's Yankee Doodle, the other one ain't. Okay. So I have no knowledge of music. I can't play a musical instrument.
Yeah.
But I can change the taste of water from here to Europe.
Hey, it's me. Just saying hi. I'm available.
I thought I turned it down.
That's all right. No worries.
Okay. So, where was I here? Oh, yes. See, back whenever I got into dowsing, and I did a bit of shamanism too.
Yeah.
And that to see what I could learn. And did it work? Yeah, pretty much. I've done things like an Indian pipe ceremony. I've helped people get over allergies. I've had some pretty good results with it. But what happened is this energy started to change that didn't seem to work too well anymore. And we had to find other ways to do things. Now, in the years that I have been doing this, roughly, well, I've actually been into dowsing seriously for people for about 22 years.
Yeah.
And during this time, there had probably been at least 15 situations that just seemed to occur. I have no idea what caused them. And then, for whatever reason, they seemed to drift away. So what was important 15 years ago doesn't even exist now.
Yeah.
So you kind of got to stay on your toes and keep up with what is going on, what's happening to people. So otherwise, you won't be able to help them.
Right.
But we have a pretty good way to tune in to really find out what we need to know, and that is having our brain function in an alpha brain frequency. Because in so doing, in my opinion, we are on the frequency of universal intelligence. So if you're on that frequency, then you can get the information you need at the time. And that's where I get an awful lot of information from. I don't really get it out of books. I don't go to workshops. I don't watch TV. I basically get it from the source.
Yeah. Well, cool. Let's see. I'm going to check. Would it be good to take some questions from the audience right now? Does that sound good, Raymond?
I didn't understand the question, Mark.
Would this be a good time to take some questions from the audience?
Yeah, you folks listen out there, use as few words as possible. We don't need your life story. Keep it as blunt as possible. That's the only way I can give you a decent answer.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So very one question per person, very concise. Again, either about maybe some of the tools that Raymond Grace has that might help you with the situation, or if you'd like to share your experience, testimonial of working with his tools, his workshops. I'm going to go first. I'm just going to try something. I'm going to go to Cindy Okroge. I'm going to unmute you, Cindy. Let's just see if you have a question.
Hi.
Yeah.
I actually don't have a question. I'm just very interested in learning more about Raymond Grace and the work that he does. I've heard certainly a lot of people speak very highly of Raymond, and that's why I'm here.
Okay, great. Well, thank you. Okay, well, thank you for being here. And yeah, if you can mute yourself, Cindy, that'd be great. Thank you. I'm going to go to the chat. Let's just see if there's a question in the chat. Okay. Oh, okay. I'm going to, Judy Huffman, if you can unmute yourself. Judy Huffman.
Hello?
Yeah. Judy?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Do you have a question for Raymond Grace or a comment?
Well, I don't really have a question because I really love his work and I've been using his work for a few years. But I do have a comment. I want to say I used your process. We had a bad spot in Spearville where there was some horrible accidents. And I mean, like with big truckers and little cars and lots of deaths. And after about 3 of those accidents, I said, this has got to stop. So I went to that space like Mr. Raymond has taught us, and I cleared the energy of the negative forces there. And since then, I have not heard of an accident. And I go maybe every 6 months and redo it. I'm telling you, this stuff is awesome.
Great. Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. I'm going to thank you. If you can mute yourself, I'm going to go to the chat box. I saw a few questions actually. Well, let's try that. If you have a question, just type it in the chat box or let me know you have a question and I'll ask you to unmute yourself. Okay. Let's go to Jackie Rowe. If you can unmute yourself, Jackie. Let's see, maybe I can do it. Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
Jackie Ryu.
Oh, Ryu. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. I learned of Raymond through the Body Code group as well, and I've been using his techniques for years. The Blueprint for Freedom is one of the things that got me started. I have the techniques book and 3 CDs. So my question, I have an estranged daughter for the last 4 years, and I have tried so many different things to try and restore that relationship, and it's just not happening.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts about that, of maybe just an approach, Raymond, that might be helpful for her?
Okay, if I understood correctly, and I didn't catch every word she said, but this is a bad relationship between her and her daughter.
Yeah,
Yes.
estranged daughter. Yeah.
Okay,
She just,
the first thing I always check on that is the daughter possessed? And let me find out here. To what degree does she have any interest? And I get yes. And I ask how many, and I get about 20, 22, and they're mild. They're not evil or dangerous or wicked or whatever, but the compatibility between her and her daughter is 0. All right, well, let's see what I can do here. Let's see if I can get rid of that real quick for you here. I like to be as kind to people as I can, but I know I'm going to have to work real quick to do this. All right, now, another thing that the problem is your spirit guides and her spirit guides don't like one another at all. So she's actually picked up, I don't know where she got them, but she's picked up some negative spirit guides here. So let's see if I can get rid of them. All right, now that helped. The compatibility went up to about 40%. That's still not good enough. So let's remove the emotions of the beliefs, thoughts, memories, and conditions of any incompatible spirit guides here. And let's take all of that and turn it into peace and respect and compatibility. And that looks like we got compatibility somewhere around 90%. Now, this is just a very quick clearing. It may be the house she lives in. There may be problems there. But that is the standard first thing you do when people don't get along. You find out if there's any negative entities involved, and there were any negative spirit guides, yes. And we have the ability to clean things like that up. And you can go to my website and get my address. Well, my address is Raymond, Raymon, at raymondgrace.us. You can drop me a note and let me know if it worked. I always like to know that what I'm doing is helping people.
thank you.
And I answer as much mail as I can. Some days I get overwhelmed with it, but I answer it the best I can. Yeah. And I'm having to keep all my answers short here today. I mean, that's understandable.
No, I understand, but give you a case. Yeah.
Now, can I ask just again, how do you keep this stable? Because these are techniques that I have tried before on her and have corrected them, and things maybe shifted slightly, but is there something that can keep that stable?
I don't know anything about what her life is like. So people are affected by the energy around them. It may be other people that's around her. It may be the place she lives. It may be where she works or where she goes. You know, we need to kind of discuss that. But
Okay.
As far as keeping it stable, the only answer I can give you is check on it at least once a week.
All right. Thank you very much.
Because some people, you clean them up. Energy works like taking a bath. It's not going to last forever.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Thank you. Yeah. All right. I'm going to mute Jackie. All right. I'm going to go to Efrat. If you could unmute yourself. The question is, how can you tap into the alpha brain frequency? That's from Efrat.
I can answer the question fairly simply.
Okay.
Anytime that we employ our 5 senses when we are thinking about something, it helps us to access the alpha brain frequency. For example, let's take a watermelon. Remember what a watermelon looks like. Imagine you're touching the skin of the watermelon. Imagine you're picking it up. It's fairly heavy. Imagine you're cutting it in half with a knife, and you see the thin outside green coloring on it. Then the next is the white inner rind, then the red, then the black seeds. Then imagine the odor and taste of a watermelon. Thump on it, imagine with your thumb or your fist, and hear the sound it makes. What have you done? You have thought of a watermelon, you've created a mental picture of it, you have employed your 5 senses to examine it. That alone, with a little practice, can put you in an alpha brain frequency. You can do the same thing with an apple, an orange, a flower, or anything else. So bottom line, employ your 5 senses while you are relaxed, and it helps to adjust your brain to the alpha frequency. And once you do that, I have programmed myself that every time I pick up my pendulum, that I automatically reach the alpha frequency. So the alpha frequency is not some mysterious realm off in another dimension where you have to sit in a lotus position with your fingers together and chain on for hours. I can do it while I'm driving down the road at 70 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
So this stuff is easier than you think it is. The problem is too many speakers and teachers complicate things too much.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. Well, thank you very much, Efrat, for your question.
If I may, I just have one more.
Okay, quick follow-up.
Quick follow-up, yes. Hi, Raymond. I'm your friend from Mexico. I don't know if you remember, we talked a while back.
As a matter of fact, I think you're the only person I've ever talked to in Mexico. That's why I would remember you.
Wonderful. I've been doing all the homework you gave me from last time. I was wondering if you could real quick just check if my energy is doing better. My home, my family, my business.
Well, okay, energy in your body is about 20,000 right now on my scale. And that's really where most good people gravitate back to. Now, some people have absolutely no energy at all, and that could be for any number of reasons. The energy at home is about 20,000. So let's just go back to what Mark was asking a while ago. The effect of this human resonance upon you and your home is about 100 below zero. Because I do my measuring on a scale of 0 to 100%, plus or minus. Plus is good, minus is bad. So if I neutralize the negative effect of the human resonance upon you and upon your home and your family, let's just see what happens. Also, you're affected by what goes on around you, at least to a distance of 8 miles, and I call this the surrounding area. You're also affected by the thoughts of other people, which is what I call mass consciousness. So if I neutralize all these things upon you, and the pendulum will go in a counterclockwise spiral while I'm doing this, and your energy just doubled. It went from 20,000 to about 43,000. That is a very typical response.
Wonderful.
Oh, great. Well,
Wonderful.
thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I
You're
will
welcome.
email you soon.
All right. We're going to mute Efrat. All right. Let's go to Kim. I guess I'm learning you can raise your hand. So I'm going to, Kim, if you can, I'm going to mute you. And you have a question for Raymond Grace?
Hi, Raymond. Nice to meet you. I'm new to kind of like energy work, and I was wondering, is there energy work that could help clear like heavy metal toxins out of a person's body? Because I've got issues with organs that are weakened by it.
Mark, you're going to have to translate that in front of me because I missed too many words.
Sure. She said she's being heavily affected by heavy metals. They're affecting her organs, the strength of her organs and the functions of her body. Are there some techniques that you have that might help her with that issue?
Well, the only way I can honestly answer this is there was a well up there in Saskatchewan, and this goes back to June of '02, that was just filled with arsenic. And I was asked to clean arsenic out of the water. Well, I had no clue how to do that. But I thought, well, I can try it. You do nothing, nothing's going to happen. So I went out and worked on it a little bit. And the fellow, I'm greatly condensing the story, the fellow contacts me about a month later. The Canadian government had tested the water and 90% of the arsenic was gone. And I said, well, have them tested again one of these days and see what happens. And the next time it was tested, there was barely a trace of arsenic. So I operate on the theory that if I could take arsenic out of water, that we can take it out of a human body because a human body is mostly water. Now, also a lot of things that affect human bodies are our belief systems. Our belief system, in my opinion, is the dominant factor that controls everything that happens to us. So if people think they're a victim, they will be a victim. And not only that, they will attract abusers. Matter of fact, I think I'll put out a short video recently, in the future here, about bullies. And I actually have got that written into my newsletters. So if you don't get my newsletter and you want it, go to RaymondGrace.com and sign up for it. And it's free. So it should come out next week sometime. But back to your question on this. It's sort of like if you believe that you can do something, you probably can, and you're always going to win more believing you can than if you believe you can't. But for you right now, let me see if I can do you a favor. Let's see if I can scramble the frequency of all of the heavy metals within your body and adjust them to the frequency of pure water. Now, in all honesty, I do not know I can, but I don't know that I can't.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got a choice. I do something or I do nothing. So maybe I can help you. No promises, just let's see what happens. And I always, my old friend, Chief Two Trees, an old Cherokee medicine man, I used to hang out with years ago. He said, what I do for people might be worth about 10%. What they do for themselves is the other 90%.
Mm.
So I would say that's probably true. So I can't overemphasize that a person's belief system is what really helps them. If someone says, I know you can help me, they're probably right. And, but I don't work on people who don't believe in what I'm doing. I have people ask me, will you work on my Uncle Joe or my Aunt Lucy or somebody? Now, they don't believe in this work. No, I won't work on it. Don't even ask me. Those answers I'll tell you up front. And the answer is no, I won't do it. I only work on people that are accepting of what I do.
Yes. Makes total sense.
And I do not try to convince anybody of anything except their own power.
Yeah, I get that question all the time. You know, be at a networking event, people say, I need you to prove, do you have something? I said, you know what? If you feel I can help you, I most likely can. If you can't, you know, save your time and money and find a solution that works for you. I'm with you.
Now,
yeah.
You know, I have never in years, I don't think ever, asked anybody me to prove anything to them.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just my attitude I've got. They just don't bother to ask.
Yeah. Great. Well, thank you, Kim. I'm going to mute you. Let's go to Sandra at 512-580. Sandra, can you unmute yourself? Sandra? Okay, I think I see your, let me see if I can unmute you. Sandra, 512-580, can you hear me?
Yes.
You have a question for Raymond Grace?
I just got on the call.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. I would like to do whatever I can do to improve my intuition, to be clearer for that.
Okay. So next steps to improving her intuition.
Well, I can answer that in one word, practice. But also, let's go back to the comments I made a while ago about functioning in alpha brain frequency. That is, and she just got on the call, she missed it, and I don't really think it's appropriate to repeat it right now.
Yeah, she can see it on replay.
I already said it. So whatever you want to do, the answer is practice. Why don't you go to my website, and I've got some free videos and free interviews out there. Just listen to the interviews and watch the videos and see what you can pick up. That's a simplest answer I can give you right now.
Okay, sounds good to me. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you. All right, let's go to, I'm going to see if I can find Carmen Infante. She says, hello, Raymond and Mark. Thank you for all you do. How to get rid of negative energies and spirits in a building?
Oh, well, again, I do it with intent. I just have the intent to remove them. And it works now for those folks of you who haven't really built up the confidence enough.
Yeah.
I used to teach people, and still do sometimes, use your spirit guides to do this. Just ask your spirit guides to take them to the proper dimension and leave them there so they can't come back. That sounds like a very simple answer, which it is, but I don't have a complicated answer for it. All my answers are always fairly simple. But then I got to thinking, well, wait a minute, why don't I just do this myself?
Mm-hmm.
Why should I enlist the help of a spiritual helper not that there's anything wrong with it, but why not learn to do it myself? So that's what I started doing. And we're having really good success with it. Just really, really good. Among the places that are very low energy, a bar, people ask me, how do you protect your energy? I got a simple answer with that. I stay out of bars and churches.
Yeah.
So, and I also try to stay out of government buildings. They are also very low energy for the most part. I've actually cleaned up the county government buildings here just to act of kindness for them.
That's so funny. You mentioned government buildings. Here where I live in Chicago, there was a building that was recently converted into like luxury condos and apartments. It used to be like a social security building. I was talking to those people I just met. He was the manager of this building. And I told him what I did. His ears perked up. He goes, I think we need your help. He goes, people are hearing things, and part of their standard welcome package is giving people sage. So they acknowledge there's some funky energies in these converted buildings. But I just thought that was funny. But yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Good.
Thank you.
I used sage a long time ago, but I found out that we can do all this with our mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right, cool. I'm gonna go back to the chat box, take maybe like one more question. Jackie from Canada says, that's funny. She worked at a post office 26 years, very toxic. Yeah. Carmen said, thank you.
Well,
all right.
Clean it up.
Yeah.
It's not that difficult to do.
Yeah.
That amazes me that people stay in low energy environments.
Yeah.
So you don't have to do that. You can clean up a place in a couple of minutes, I guess. Maybe 5 minutes if you need some practice.
Yeah. Cool.
The bottom line here is, Mark, we have methods that I am doing my best to get out there to people in my films and classes that shows them that they do not have to be victims.
Right.
You can clean up where your kids go to school. If there's bullies there, we'll clean the school up. What I'm about, Mark, is empowering people.
Yes.
And trying to get people off of spiritual welfare.
Yeah.
Instead of getting them to get me to do it, teach them to do it themselves.
Yeah.
It's just like the old saying, you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. You teach him to fish, you feed him for a lifetime.
Yeah.
Same principle.
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree. Great. So would you like to share, I know you shared some stories, but like one or two of your favorite all-time success stories?
Yeah, I would. I really would. And this one here is one I'm really proud of because, I really like to help farmers.
Yeah.
I have a saying, it's bad manners to cuss a farmer with your mouth full. So one of my friends who was a dairy farmer contacted me. I'd say this has been about 7 years ago.
Yeah.
And he said, I really need help. I've got a problem. I said, what's your problem? He said, well, I have 20 acres of alfalfa out there, and I noticed some weeds in the field. And I called the local farm supply company and asked them to come out and spray the field for weeds. He said the truck driver picked up the wrong jug of chemicals, and they sprayed all 20 acres with Roundup.
Ooh.
And I said, well, how long is it going to take you to correct this problem? He said, a year. I got to plow it all up, reseed it, start all over. Well, not only was that expensive, he was losing his feed crop for his cows for a year, which was probably enough to bankrupt a small farmer.
Sure.
And now I did not fully understand the situation, which was a blessing, and which I'll tell you in a few minutes. Well, anyway, I said, don't plow the field up yet. Give me 2 days to work on this. Well, I didn't hear from him for a month. A month later, he sent me a picture. They cut the tallest crop of alfalfa that he had ever had.
Mm-hmm.
They normally get 3 cuttings a year. That year, they got 5. So he basically doubled his alfalfa crop for the year.
Wow.
And he said, what did you do? Well, I said, I scrambled the frequency of the Roundup and turned it into fertilizer.
Cool.
Now, why? I didn't know I couldn't. That's how I do everything. People think I do things because I'm smart. That's not true. I do things because I don't know I can't. Well, what he didn't tell me, and I'm glad he didn't, because if he had told me this, it would have never happened. But he could not find a single living alfalfa plant in that field. They were all dead, but he didn't tell me that. I thought it had just been sprayed, and I think, okay, I can change it before it hurts anything. I was really surprised when that happened.
Yeah.
So my philosophy is usually the story about the bumblebee that doesn't know it can't fly. That bumblebee, I think, breaks all the rules of aerodynamics just because he doesn't know he can't fly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's one of my better stories.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what kind of stories you want, but
Oh.
let me say this. There's
Yeah.
been an awful lot of abuse down through the centuries.
Yes.
I found a way, and I'm gonna have to keep this brief, but I found a way to go through time. But I've always been weird, and when I was about 15 years old, I had a thought one day, I would like to go back in time and prevent people from being tortured.
Mm.
Well, I got the opportunity. That took me many, many years to learn how.
Yeah.
And I don't have all the answers yet, but I got part of it. I have found a way to go back in time and stop abuse before it happened.
Mm.
And the person sometimes even has trouble remembering what happened. I'm going to keep the stories just very mild here because most of those stories get kind of bloody.
Okay.
But that's one of the things we did. We also, and I can't really prove I do this, but the people that are asking help think I do. I've got a friend down in South America that has planted 50,000 trees to help with the reforesting and so on there. And of course, you got to have rain for the trees to grow. Well, there's been numerous occasions the weather was excessively hot and dry. And he would write me saying, will you send some rain? Well, all I do is talk to the spirit of the rain. It generally rains within a day.
Mm.
Now, am I doing that or would it have rained anyway? That's one we can't prove. I don't know. But he keeps asking and I keep trying and it keeps raining. So maybe it works. Now, let me say this. I don't mess with the weather much because I kind of like to leave the elements alone, but it's like the man has put the effort in to plant 50,000 trees, and if you don't get water, they're going to die. So to me, that is helping nature. I personally think nature needs some help from time to time. People think nature is perfect, but I don't believe that.
Mm-hmm.
I've never actually seen evidence that would cause me to believe that.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe that we have the ability to help things in nature. And yeah, I do. I really believe we can do that.
Yeah, very cool. Absolutely. There's a comment from the chat box from Susan Mays. She says, love this interview. So thank you, Susan, for being on the call. Yeah, it's been an incredible conversation. So as we get ready to wrap up the show, do you have any other final thoughts or comments you'd like to leave the audience today?
Well, yeah, for all you people listening out there, rule number one, believe in yourself. Because whether you believe you can, whether you can't, you're right. And I may be a little short on smarts, but I'm not short on confidence.
Mm-hmm.
So I will, anything that's within reason, and sometimes even not within reason, that needs to be done, I will do my best to do something about it. That doesn't mean I'm going to try to solve everybody's petty problems in the world. It's impossible to do, so I don't waste time trying. I work on things that are important, things that are usually on, I like to work on things that on a global scale, but I'll work on things on a small scale too. But I'm kind of particular about some of the things I work on. It's got to be something that's really important. There's no point in wasting time with petty stuff when you can be working on something that would change people's lives for the better. So you folks feel free to go to my website, raymondgrace.us, or you can either go to my other one, raymondgracefoundation.org, and it shows what we're doing there. We spent quite a bit of money and time cleaning up a river. We paid from a kid to go into 9 counties and 2 cities in Southwest Virginia, teaching kids to respect water, take care of water. We work in local cleanups on that. We work to clean up the environment as best we can, and also to get other people involved in it. We've got a heirloom seed saver program. I sponsor at the county library for people to bring in heirloom seeds and give them away to, or share them, and to just, I found out that 96% of the heirloom seed had disappeared since 1900. Wow. So I thought, okay, let's see if we can kind of get what we've got left and share them with people. And this is just kind of things we do. I would say do whatever you know how to do. You got to start somewhere, so start from where you are, and hopefully I've got enough information out there for you. My DVDs are basically the class that is a condensed version. There's 6 of them and a CD. But then I've got a number of DVDs just give away, and we're going to keep making some more of them, little short ones. So just type in my name and all kind of stuff will come up there. So hopefully you'll get some use out of it.
Yeah. So again, please check out Raymond Grace's website, DVDs, books, even you do some private sessions. Is that correct, Raymond?
I do when there's time. The best thing to do is send me an email. If you ever get a hold of my phone number, please don't call it, because most time I won't answer it. If I do, I'll pick the phone up and say, what the hell do you want? Just send me an email and give me your phone number and tell me briefly about 1 or 2 sentences what your problem is. Don't tell me your life story. I don't have time to read about it. So keep it simple, and if it looks like something I can help you with, I will get back to you as soon as I can. You send me a polite email, I'll send you a polite answer. I had one woman write and said, I helped my sister's arthritis, thanks. You wouldn't believe some of the things you get like that. Okay, that's why they put delete buttons on computers.
Right. No, I understand. Yeah.
Am I blunt? Yes. Why? Because
I like it. No, but you know, that's a whole nother conversation. How you know, time and place, like for community work, free healings, but you know, there's time people need to value what's being offered. So yeah. So, well, Raymond, thank you very much for being my guest on the People and Pets Show. People are writing in saying they love the interview. Judy Huffman says the online class is worth it, so look into that. Carmen says, thank you very much. A lot of appreciation. So, yeah, thank you. So,
well, you folks have a good day, and if you write me, I'll do my best to get back with you as soon as possible.
Great. So, as you know, the People and Pets Show goes live every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. I interview leading figures in the holistic space for people, animals, and spaces. Next week, we're having a special edition of the show. The topic will be when saging is not enough. We'll be doing live mini healings on your spaces. So come bring your wonky energies with your spaces, and we'll be doing some mini healings. So again, thank you everyone for being on the show. If there's something I can help you with, I love people like Raymond Grace that give you the tools to empower yourself. And then sometimes we all get stuck, me included. I can't see my own eyeballs. If there's something I can help with reach out to me through my website at peopleandpetsenergetics.com. Again, thank you everyone for being on the call. I'm going to unmute everyone if you just want to say a quick thank you, and we'll close it out.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Divine blessings to all.
Thank you very much.
Great. Okay. Well, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Raymond.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for your time. Again, we'll post the replay on my page, People and Pets Energetics, and it'll be on YouTube. So be on the lookout. Make sure to share it with your friends and family and those that will benefit. Again, thank you, everyone, and have a great day. Take care, everyone.
You
Bye-bye.
too.